We're just waiting for the thing to. I'm going to spit out my gum like an adult.
Did you what? Why did you lick your hand first?
That's what she said. Hi, everybody. It is Sunday, the 12th. We are some number of days away from Nick's birthday. When was that?
Last Saturday. Thanks
Last
for not
Saturday.
remembering, Mike.
So we are we 8 days? By Saturday, you don't mean yesterday.
We're eight days.
We're 8 days away from Nick's birthday, and we're 4 days away from my birthday. So we're old together. We have a few questions to get through tonight, Nick, but we're also doing sort of an AMA style Ask Twinsies episode, as you said. And so you guys can get on here in the side and just really ask us anything. Nick, do me a favor.
Yeah.
Go over to Twitter and let people know that we're doing this right now, and I'll go retweet us. So you guys get to ask us anything tonight. It can be about my anxiety about my kids going back to school, which I'm totally back and forth on, and we can talk through that as much as you guys want to. We can talk about gardening because I'm so bored, and I picked up gardening, and there are things that I've learned. Nick can tell you how to lie on your Tinder profile, how to barely meet your parents' expectations. There are all kinds of things that he can help us with. Helen Bukelmes is here. She says, hello, friends. So you guys can ask us whatever you want to tonight, and we will. I think we have to answer. Is that the rule of an Ask Me Anything?
Yeah, but the whole thing on this show is we rarely tell the truth. So, I mean, go ahead and ask, but I don't know what you're going to get.
You're getting nothing. And I'm going to retweet your thing on Twitter. All right. So, Nick, it is...
Are we hitting questions first, or are we Ask Me Anything already?
That's a good question. Johnny Finch says, I am here, and what are we doing? Johnny, we're going to go through the questions that we have, including yours, so stop being a baby about it. But you can also ask us about anything as it comes up.
I said to Johnny that we maybe will just will answer his question at the end. Otherwise, he'll just leave because he just wants the shout out.
Just about him. I do think before we get started with anything else, we need to address Haggisgate because this keeps coming up, and I'm pretty sure that Johnny Finch has just done 40 thumbs up on the thing. Thanks, Johnny. That helps somehow. Haggisgate just keeps coming up. So Brian Inkster, he wants to clarify your stupid thing about your import business, and he's hiding from the law, and he's actually importing illegally obtained dolls filled with cocaine or whatever it was that you said. He said that authentic Scottish haggis has been banned in the United States since 1971 when the U.S. Department of Agriculture first took a dim view of one of its key ingredients, sheep's lung. So he can't send us haggis, but he did want to ask an actual question, which I won't read all this. Short version is, have you been to Scotland?
So great question. I'm glad we're putting a nail in haggis for now. Let's hope that he stands by that. No, never been to Scotland. Have you?
I haven't been to Scotland. I feel like if I were to go that way, I would probably go to Ireland to find my people. And right now, I mean, there's the whole issue of international travel. My wife and I, our 20th wedding anniversary is coming up in November. And we've been our plan was to go to Italy, and you can't. So, and Europe is sitting here just not letting us come over there. So I don't know. I sort of feel like Ireland and Scotland and Italy and everything outside of Kansas is not real, and we'll never see it again.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Nobody wants us in their country, and I don't blame them. I talked to somebody yesterday. I did an interview for Legal Tech Live, and one was in London, one was in Ireland. Ireland's they're doing fantastic. Huh. They prefer to be there. And I just thought, wow, even California, we were doing okay for a while, but not anymore.
There is... They're doing better because they won't let us in. Helen, give me just a second. We're going to get to your question. But I did, on this conversation about international travel and precautions, Warren asked the question of Ask Twinsies, was he an idiot? And let me show you what Warren was referring to. This
Please.
was an experience I had the other day. I was sitting outside of a taco joint outside, because that's where you sit in these things. And I was eating some tacos, and there was an old guy in a white camo hat that says, he just comes out all grumpy, and he goes, "It just says master required. Not that I have to wear one. I have mine in my pocket."
Ooh, really looking for the loophole on that one.
Yeah, it's so fascinating that it's become like a matter of identity whether you accept that one should wear a mask or not. And he said right after that, though these masks do nothing. They're totally useless.
Yeah, it's all you have to do. I've been telling people for weeks is put it on, put your hand in front of it, and try blowing through the mask, and you get an idea that it's better to have it on because then you're not spreading it.
This is the weirdest hill to die on. Like,
It-
who cares?
Yeah,
Put the
yeah.
stupid, on the off chance, just put on the stupid mask. Put the damn
When
mask on.
Were you by yourself eating these tacos, and were you like kind of standing under a tree and crying? Because that's how I'm picturing it.
No, because I was eating tacos. I'm always happy.
I just thought you were sad eating and just shoving them in your
I'm
face.
eating tacos. I'm like gleefully happy. No, I was outside and I was working because like I can't work at home because the kids are here all the time. So I have to find ways to get out of here. But I'm in a very politically identified area,
Mm-hmm.
especially when I go west and further into Kansas and into that area. And it's an identity thing. It's so sad when basic information becomes the subject of your opinion of, and I think, like, I understand people's skepticism. Skepticism is great. I teach my kids to be skeptical. But if all knowledge generating institutions, if you reject all of them as biased, that means you've got to go figure out everything yourself. And that's exhausting. That's
Yeah.
just exhausting.
Yeah. The taco thing is an interesting cultural revolution. When we were at Clio last year, the last legal conference anybody will ever attend, you were obsessed with finding new tacos. Alicia Kinchlow was obsessed with finding tacos. I didn't realize this is outside of California. Finding the tacos seems to be really important.
Taco is universally important. Johnny Finch asked, politically identified, what the hell? Johnny, I was trying to subtly say wackadoo conservatives was what I was trying to say. Helen Biukumez says, in its due time, here's my proposed topic. How will the 45th, I assume president, talking about Donald Trump, create a path to citizenship for the Dreamers by an executive order? Have you kept track of this? He's gone back and forth. It was, I'm going to kill it so that I can rebuild it. I guess like the healthcare plan, it's supposed to be repeal and replace, but there's repealing and no replacing. Do you know anything about, Helen would obviously know more about this than we would. Any creative paths for Dreamers to become?
Honestly, I don't know that there's any creative path that there's any plan to do anything there. After the Supreme Court had had now left those the DACA people in limbo again, I haven't seen anything that resembles plans really. Yeah, Johnny, this is a serious question. It's difficult to answer these serious questions, especially when I've done no research for a show in which I do no research.
I do feel like, though, we could do some kind of contest where, like, I don't know, like, do you remember, what was it called, American Gladiators? You remember where those people get in and they had the like batons with the rubber on the end and they smack each other?
It was a phenomenal show. It's a phenomenal show, and I wish it would come back. If we could do that
as a path to citizenship, I would support thorough immigration reform.
Are you kidding me? That would be phenomenal if you let's make a profit on the whole immigration thing and have people do that to get in.
I feel like that's the path.
Entertain us as I'm fine with entertainment as the path to citizenship.
I hate Nirvana.
What?
Here we are now. Entertain us. I have never enjoyed Nirvana. It's one of the things with my marriage.
Go to a question.
Whenever it comes
not
on,
your marriage again.
Just turn it off. I can't. We barely. Speaking of, Colin asks, "What do you like the best and least about the other?"
The best thing about Mike is his good looks, because he looks like me. The thing that's worst about Mike is his overindulgence in continuously talking.
I think the worst is that Nick is an interrupting asshole. And the best thing about Nick,
No, you can't pretend there isn't one. You have to give one.
I know I have to choose from so many.
Yes.
To get to the best. I would say it's nice when that I can send you to events, because people are always talking about delegation and not having to do everything themselves. I like how if I send you to an event, I'm at the event.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I'm not.
Even if you're not there. Yep. I had that confusion at the LSC conference early this year. And somebody thought that I was you.
That's a nice one.
It's a good feature.
Speaking of timely questions, Dennis asked, would you take an in-person bar exam in 2020?
No, I would not. It's that simple.
I think I would. I just don't think I would want my kids to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I would not. It's that simple.
I'm allowed to be an idiot, but I don't like the idea. And I mean, we're facing this whole thing with our kids going to school. Seriously, we're having like major anxiety. Probably my wife less than me. She's willing to roll with whatever the plans are, and I'm sitting here feeling like I can't trust. Speaking of not believing knowledge institutions, it's freaking me out.
Yeah, but you got 4, so like if you dropped one,
in the herd, sure.
Yeah, you're not bad.
So I would say probably no, Dennis. Helen.
No, I've got asthma. I'm one of the more high at risk people. I don't want to be sitting amongst a bunch of other people.
I'm at high risk because I'm old and also because I'm vital.
Mm.
Right? So in those apocalyptic movies, they're trying to figure out who should be able to get on the ship. Like in Battlestar Galactica, you got to let Gaius Baltar onto the ship and save him, right? Obviously, because he's a genius. So for me, I have to keep this safe.
Yeah, because that brain, so handy. I mean,
I was talking about my
lips. Essential.
Helen asked, what is your favorite food out of the COVID-19 era for each of you?
You know what? I've been definitely liking the hot wings and pizza. It's so easy. But I really have wanted more hot wings recently than before.
She asked new, so I'm wondering, is there something that I'm eating now that I was not eating before? I feel like Little Debbie type snacks have really made a return. I didn't eat a lot of those for years, but now they're just like, it's straight carbs. There's no nutritional value whatsoever. I'm sad.
Really? So you've gone back to the packaged sweets, huh?
2 at a time. I get them stuck right in here.
Stuck right there.
Johnny Finch says, the show is too smart tonight, guys. Just wait for it, Johnny.
Yeah, Johnny, it's 14 minutes in. We've got to warm up.
Just wait for it. Jason asks, if someone offers you a penny for your thoughts and you give them 2 cents, you give them your 2 cents. See what he did there? He's playing on.
Yeah, I see what he's saying.
Penny for your thoughts. Let me give you my 2 cents. What happens to the other penny?
You're losing money, is all I know, and that's a terrible return.
It's like a dad question.
Yeah. Helen's going for the tiramisu.
Helen likes the tiramisu, and she also says, "Don't do the Little Debbies."
You are looking a little extra rolly.
Oh my gosh, I probably put on like 15, 20 pounds if we're being honest.
Yeah.
It's a fact. So Jason, speaking of questions we are way unmanly and unable to answer. Jason says, I've replaced the floor of my backyard shed and I will finish reassembling it tonight. Mm-hmm. It's about 8 by 8 and roughly 6 foot tall inside. What, if anything, should I use to cover the pressure treated plywood flooring? And what shelving should I buy so the lawnmower will still fit? So he wants to seal the plywood and he wants shelving, but also for the lawnmower to fit.
So I feel like we're past my knowledge of where a primer goes, and I also don't know when the primer is involved here. So I'm going to put primer. Go ahead and do some primer because it's the only word I know out of the whole question that he's asked here, and I'm not even sure if it's involved. Second, I like some oak shelves. Go ahead and put some oak shelves in there.
I was going to say I'd lay some honey down.
Honey. Is that just because you're on the ground eating the honey right out of the jar?
Somebody save me. This is all real. None of this is a joke, people. Jason, with another weird question, asked,
Good, perfect.
could most of the gunfights in the Wild West have been avoided if cowboy architects had just made the towns big enough for everyone?
Yeah. Have you ever visited one of the old West towns? They are really small. Like you're going to run into some people that you don't want to see. So yeah, I think it's definitely a design failure. I think that a lot of this could have been avoided. A lot of the unnecessary violence could have been avoided if maybe just larger walking paths to walk through town. Maybe a nice little green belt around the town.
I was going to make a gun control joke, but I'm in a mood, and that was probably going to come off poorly. Helen added, I took a hit big time, way too many visits to the fried chicken drive-thrus, meaning she's probably put on a couple. I mean, Helen just wears it so well. Me, it's all in the butt. You know what I'm saying? It's just so you can shoot the champagne over onto your glass behind you. Jen wants to know about our gardening. What do I do with all this zucchini? Are you a zucchini eater?
I am.
I had somebody on Twitter because I thought I had killed my zucchini plant, and somebody said, "Good, zucchini is gross." I don't understand.
You can put all sorts of stuff on it, a little olive oil, a little salt and pepper. I mean, you can do all kinds of stuff with it, and it's tasty, and it's good for you.
I feel like zucchini is so versatile because it comes in two textures. You can barely cook it, and you get that like broccoli
Crunch.
stem. Yeah, so like there's still pushback on it. And then there's butter, right? Like you can just cook it down until it's just butter in a dish. So tonight I made a pasta with a white sauce that was out of creme fraiche, and I just shredded 2 zucchini into the sauce, and over time it just sort of became a thicker white sauce, right? Like it's a great hiding vegetable.
Yeah, no, I like it. I don't know why somebody's opposed to the zucchini. As for what Jen does with the zucchini, I don't know. It maybe lots of emoji pictures,
I think that's eggplants. That doesn't.
It is egg, but you can use. You got to make do. It's COVID, so.
I bet if you drove by people, we were talking earlier about how when I was a kid we had to throw newspapers out of the car. I feel like you could throw zucchini out of the car and have a pretty good time while still maintaining social distance.
Yeah. Now, are you cooking this zucchini so that when it hits them, are you throwing it while it's more firm, or are you softening it up a little bit and throwing it to splatter?
No, it's 2020. Poke him in the eye. Kill him with a zucchini. I'm good with that. Johnny had posted... I'm going to put this side by side because I think this is so funny. Johnny retweeted somebody saying, name 1 or 2 individuals who make your experience on this app worth it due to their greatness. Johnny retweeted that and tagged both of us. When he put that up, I took that as an Ask Twinsies question. I thought he was saying, tell us 2 people, Mike and Nick, that you 2 think are awesome. But that's not what you thought.
No,
what you thought in response was, look how kind Johnny is. You thought he was talking about us.
Obviously. There's no other reason for him
like
to
immediately.
write that.
It took you no time to respond to that. And you're like, that's sweet, Johnny.
Yeah, that's how he thinks of us, and as he should.
That's a terrible. Who makes... It's funny because totally I was going to answer you and me as the answer, but I didn't assume that he would have thought that it was you and me. Look
at that. Look at the unnecessary comma placement in that, by the way. Really, I was half asleep when I was doing it, and it made me upset that I couldn't edit it. But
let's not mess with Johnny. He just said something nice about you, so leave it be. Johnny did have a question. About one of these things has to go. I don't know if this is in COVID or in general in life. The options were the internet, bread, and air conditioning. If this is in COVID, it might twist the data a little bit. There was a vote. He only got 5 votes, and Bread and AC was even. The internet, people need the internet. So
Yeah.
which one are you cool with going?
So I have tried to get rid of the bread for some time, and I would definitely do better without the bread. But I want the internet, and you will never see me happy if the AC is not around. It brings me such joy because I live in a hot area.
Do you have
So
air conditioning? See, because I
yeah,
remember going out there during a heat wave in San Francisco, which you're northeast of San Francisco,
I'm
some
east. Yeah,
like an
east of
hour,
San
right?
Francisco. Yeah,
Um, and they were freaking out about this heat wave, and it was like 87 degrees or something.
yeah,
And I was making fun of them, of course, because that's ridiculous. And they said, no, most of our houses don't have air conditioning because it
yeah.
never gets like this.
Right. Yeah.
But where you are, it does.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Awful. And even if I were in San Francisco, I would demand a place with an air conditioner so that I would have it for those days. So bread, I can get rid of bread and still live pretty happily.
Do you remember that Sprite commercial with the dog that's super hot and it's like laid back, all sprawled with its legs, sitting in front of a fan and just
No.
being blown? Okay, you got to go find that commercial because I do that, and Nicole makes fun of me every time and says, "You're being the Sprite dog." My answer to this question would probably be bread as well. I've done that before. It really sucked. But of the options, I would have to say bread. I do think it's funny that almost all of us agree that the internet, we can't survive right now without the internet.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
would be miserable.
It would be awful.
Jesse asked the question, what's the best way to get rid of a headache? Points will be awarded for creativity. What do you think?
So the question I have, it really leads to more questions. Who is the headache? Because I'm obviously thinking this is a person.
Murder.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Who is causing the headache? Is it somebody that you can ship off to a different relative, or because I'm thinking otherwise the headaches are pretty minimal for me. Maybe Excedrin if it's an actual headache, but the only headaches I really know about are people.
Honestly, how do I get rid of a headache? I drink another caffeinated beverage and take some Advil. I'm going to have an
Yeah,
ulcer. My stomach's going to explode. I'm going to die. It's a problem.
that's yeah. That's.
My wife doesn't care as long as I have life insurance. So,
Do you have life insurance right now?
no. And I don't want to be lectured about it again by all you people on the internet. It's a whole thing. My wife is now going to chime in about how bad a person I am because I don't have life insurance.
And you're packing on COVID weight and eating unhealthily, and I think I heard you wheezing earlier.
Just breathing. Carol asked a couple questions that were birthday relevant. What was your best birthday present? I mean, the one that you received. So this assumes that you have people who care enough about you to give you birthday presents. Answer that one for me because the next one's about COVID and something.
Yeah. So my friend Stephanie got me Hershey's bars and then a side thing of Skippy peanut butter, and I thought that was pretty cool of her to make your own Reese's peanut butter.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a good present.
Was that the only present you got?
No, I got a couple other things. Mom made me some cupcakes; those were good. Uh, what else did I get?
I know it feels like at our age, like who cares?
Yeah, yeah,
Not even my teenagers care anymore because when it's their birthday, they're like, I want a new car, or I want a computer, or I want a rocket ship, and I'm like, no, let's go back to the days when what you got was a wallet with $5 in it.
yeah.
Carol also asked, what is your opinion about all the new gurus and experts popping up during COVID?
Yeah,
Were they always there?
there's always a guru or an expert about something, right? Like, and it always comes down to, are you self-proclaimed or are you actually an expert? So, I think these are the same business development people who are now trying to use COVID for business development.
Guys, just FYI, we're coming up on our last couple of questions, but this is an AMA edition, so you can ask us whatever the freak you want. We're just hanging out at this point. Using Carol again as inspiration, she asked, was it difficult to get your first job? What did you do for your first job?
No, my first job was working cleaning out at a property my dad owned. We had to clean out storage units and paint the place, so it was not hard for me to get.
Nepotism.
Yep, full nepotism.
Probably paid you significantly less than you would have been paid on the open market.
Probably.
Wow. Well,
That's how the Lebanese family works.
that's pretty smart. My first job was working for an electrician in Cincinnati, and I was assembling lights. We were doing like this giant project hanging fluorescent lights in this building, and so I was just putting the pieces together, handing it off to the electrician to actually tie them in. It was a dude we knew from church. He hired every moron who showed up. I was the moron who showed up.
Nice. How old were you for the first job?
14?
Yeah, I was
14 or
14,
15,
I think.
somewhere in
Yeah,
there. Yeah.
14.
And we always worked young. I mean, we've had this whole thing with our kids for a while because they've been homeschooled, and school people put so much priority on school. My son today was asking me, "Is it true that as soon as you enter high school, all of your grades stay with you forever? They all matter forever?" I said, "Well, yeah. I mean, if you want to go to college, college cares about your high school GPA, and it's weird how much kids' high school now is defined by making the list look long for getting into college, and so
Yeah,
there aren't kid jobs. Plus, adults are taking kid jobs, right? There's
right.
just not enough jobs, so there's well-paying jobs. So you have a bunch of adults taking the kid jobs, taking the fast food jobs, and
Right.
you know it's really hard for kids now. But we've had them working. You worked all through high school?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I worked summers through high school, and then I think when I was finally able to drive is when I started working regularly through high school.
Yeah, I think I probably didn't work a full-time job until after. I think I worked a full-time job after I graduated. Blockbuster in Lewisville, Texas was where I worked.
Wow.
Yeah, I was the top seller of this new thing called a DVD of the first Toy Story. Toy Story released on a DVD, and we were supposed to sell it to people. And of course, people didn't have DVD players, so it was hard to sell it. But I was the top salesperson in the Dallas region of the
Wow.
Blockbuster DVD.
Of just that Toy Story DVD.
Yep, yeah. And of course, it got me
Interesting.
nothing.
No, no.
Nobody cares
Why would it?
because I was an hourly employee. Johnny Finch said for those kids, they don't have to go to school. They don't have to. They have YouTube, and I don't
He's
know.
right.
I don't know if he means by that kids can learn whatever they want from YouTube, which is true. By the way, if you're thinking of homeschooling, there's a really cool program called Discovery K-12 where they go out and curate all
Nobody asked about it.
bunch of content. Or was Johnny saying they have a YouTube career down
Yeah.
like they could just
Yeah. Just start cranking out content, kids.
on the internets. Yeah, and Carol's other question: do you prefer iOS or Android, a Mac, or something else?
I was trying to think of what the something else might be.
Linux?
Maybe.
What's the
Maybe.
Linux is the open source one, right? That
Yeah,
people can go
yeah.
in. I feel like there's another open source one that I can't remember the name of, but
I think Linux is the open source one, I believe. I like both. I use Mac at home, iPhone, and then at the office we're PC.
we're all Apple here because it's idiot proof, and I'm an idiot, and I have broken many a computer. My wife makes fun of me because I used to watch basketball streams. Like you could go to these pirate sites and watch streams of games, and it's all these Turkish sites, putting bad stuff on viruses on my computer. And she's like, "You're the one guy who gets viruses on your computer because you watch basketball,
Yeah,
not for watching porn."
yeah. Nobody believes this basketball story at all.
That's what the little guys do. Well, guys, that's it. Nick, anything else to add? Thoughts for
No.
this week? I
Ask questions for next week.
asked
Get us
questions for
lots
next
of
week.
questions.
And I'm gonna self promote. I'm gonna self
Oh,
promote.
oh, good.
I want people to go check out the Lawyer Forward podcast. I have been experimenting with this thing. It's been taking a lot of time. I wanted to bring it up in part because I wanted to tell you guys briefly how I'm getting the content for it, because I would love tips to do otherwise. And Nick, you're coming up with content all the time for your job, and I don't know where you're getting it from, but I'm using Blinkist to get like quick data, and we also have Scribd, which gets like, they do these brief things where you can listen to a book in 3 minutes or whatever, and you can also listen to an audiobook. So I'm trying to get my content, like Scribd is a really good resource. My wife turned me onto it, and I would recommend it. You can get audiobooks and briefs and, full books, full text to books. It's a better subscription than all the subscriptions we had on Amazon. I turned off my Audible, turned off my Kindle Unlimited, and we're just using Scribd now. So recommend that. And
Did
anyway,
you need me here for this part?
yeah,
Or
if you have any other tips for where to get, are you a newsjacker?
I can be, yeah.
do that?
I can't. Well, if there's a story worth getting actual expert information from, where I can actually turn and ask an expert, hey, what's the story on this? Then yes. Otherwise, I still look for stories that experts can comment on and provide us some input.
So you're writing for the experts.com blog. I am trying to put this thing out, the Lawyer Forward podcast. I hope you guys will all subscribe. And for next week, please ask Twinsies, hashtag up there, ask us some questions, and we will help you with nothing.
With all of your problems and desires.
I'm going to go stare at the garden now, because apparently staring at it makes it grow faster. You guys have a good night. Thanks for joining us.
Good night, all.